All right, my light. Welcome, my light. My light. Anywho, welcome to the first podcast that is called My Light. My name is Laila Nnyane, and I'm proudly coming to you live from Bloemfontein at the Pass Media Studios. And this is a first of its kind type of podcast. Now, one of the reasons why this podcast had to happen is because of my journey, my crazy life and crazy journey, and the effect that I've had on people's lives. So, just to give you a reference and a background of who I am, my name is Laila Nnyane. I am a girl from a small town called Tabanshu, right here in the Free State province of South Africa. I was born to a mother and a father. Some people will call me an oops baby because my mother was still in high school when she had me. I grew up in very large families from my small town of Tabanshu. I went to a school called Tlotlana. At that time, it was the only, the white school multiracial. You know that phase when you come from apartheid and then new school and then the new kids, yeah, those times, yeah. So I grew up like that. Mr. Sinclair was my principal. Love that man. Awesome man. Still good. Anyway, so in Tabanshu, there used to be this thing called Mabana, which was a cultural center, né? And they had these gymnastic classes. Called gymnastics, the way I just want to show you, the reason I'm going to be telling you tidbits about these is because I want to show you my life and the manifestations that I've always had and the power I've always had. But I've always been sleeping on myself, not understanding myself, lost and looking for myself in other people and other things. So in my journey of telling you where I come from, I just want to give you tidbits of some of the hero moments I had in my life that I never actually acknowledged because I was always a lost child, right? So growing up in Tabanshu, there was this place called Mabana, and we used to walk from my school, my primary school, Tlotlana, to Mabana every day. And the most extraordinary thing, I used to be the number one because the teacher every time would approach the school would tell us the first one to get to the school would be winning a prize or something like that. I know there wasn't a prize. We just raced. We just ran because we were children and we loved running. And I would always be, bona, skinny malinki, bona, mukiatanyana, gone, soup, number one. And I'd always be pulling people with me, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. I was always a happy child, so happy that there were instances where Mr. Sinclair himself, the principal, would notice when I wasn't happy or when something was affecting me or when something was bad. But growing up as a happy child, you come upon a lot of things that basically destroy that happiness, At 7 years old, I then got molested. I was molested by a person that my aunt trusted to basically take care of me. And what he did was basically take away my trust in basically, actually not my trust, but basically he took away my opportunity to give myself over to somebody else and trust them. He broke that trust, you get. And growing up with this, I never actually got therapy for it. And it basically was part of me and it became part of me and it started changing me, like many things that happen in life. And that's the thing about this podcast. We're going to be touching on all spheres of life. The holistic, the good, the bad, the ugly, the nasty, the fantastic, and everything, because that is what life is. That is what self is. That is why we're calling this My Light, because I will be unlocking you, unearthing you, awakening you to your highest self. So welcome to the My Light podcast. Yay! So happy to be here. So happy to be here. So happy to be here. Yes, I'm speaking alone. This is fun. I'm joking. Anyway, so welcome to it. And we're basically going to be doing this every week. We're going to have topics. We're going to touch on different scenarios. We're going to touch on different people's lives. We're going to have, what do you call it? Not invitees, interviewees. Ooh, Sekgowa! We're going to have interviewees. We're going to have people coming on that are going to be talking about their own journeys on how to basically reach your higher self. So welcome to My Light podcast, and it is basically about unlocking your inner light, because we all have that light. We all have that amazing light. And mine, I know, comes from my childhood, my inner childhood, my inner child, actually, and where I was basically hiding. I've been hiding my inner child from myself for the longest time. Hence, I reference my molestation. That was one of the things that broke and took away my childhood. You understand? And growing up into that, you also realize some of the difficulties that you have between your family, your dynamics when you go to school, and the environment in which you were raised in. And growing up, I eventually, of course, left my small town and I moved to the big city, Bloemfontein. And I went to high school at Brebner. Yes, I'm a Brebnerian. I'm a Brebnerian. So went to high school there, matriculated, and then, of course, went to varsity at the University of the Free State. I'm a graduate there. There, of course, that's where I basically discovered my passion for media, for radio. That's why I joined the campus-based radio station there, CFM, right? And funny enough, when I joined it, a friend of mine, Bangi, was hosting a hip-hop show. And Bangi was like, I need a producer. I know Mang, because I had this obsession as a child. By the way, growing up as a child, that's why I'm always going to be referencing my childhood and what I went through. As a child, there were moments where I would wake up at 6 a.m. and wake up my whole family, keeping Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, because as a child, from 6 years old, I always knew what I wanted to become. But everything, all the circumstances, molestation, all the things that happened in my life, they blocked me and made me run away from my truth, my light, basically. And getting there, we got to varsity, and in varsity, a lot of things happened at varsity. Varsity, I discovered my passion for media. I joined CFM, the radio station that is still there. Only a Kofi knows the feeling. Hey! And in joining CFM, I got to learn a lot about myself. I joined the news team. I was a news compiler, news reader. I just moved up in the ranks. I was just here. I was music manager at some point. I was program manager at some point. I was just here. I was just moving. And I just like to point something out to you because a lot of people always see me doing these dynamic, amazing things. Guys, to me, I am oblivious. I am oblivious to the dynamic, amazing things that I do because I've always been looking for myself in everything else but myself. That's how lost I've been. Do you understand? So a lot of people will be like, Laila, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I don't see it. And that is the importance of this podcast because a lot of us don't see ourselves. And when we don't see ourselves, we self-sabotage. We self-sabotage ourselves day in, day out, repeatedly without even realizing it sometimes. So that is another lesson that we'll be delving into here on this podcast. How we project our self-hate, our pain, our traumas, our bitterness out into the world. I'm going to be teaching you about self-actualization, self-love, your light, and basically how you can project that light instead of all the pain that the world is currently experiencing. So that's just one of the amazing things that we're going to be doing on this podcast. Another thing we're going to be doing on this podcast, as most people would know, is that I now go live on TikTok. I've been going live on TikTok for the last several months. And that's how we got here, basically. That TikTok movement, that TikTok growth, it got us here. And we're now introducing this podcast to basically grow the movement, the reach. Because one of the things that I realized is that I go live on TikTok, but not everyone can constantly go on the live. So we need podcasts. We need information like this where people can actually go back and rewind and check and reference and say, no, Eleanor said this. No, no, and then come back and stuff like that. You get what I mean? So we are evolving as a people. We are evolving into a new mindset, a new type of thinking, a new world, a new reality. And that's what this podcast is basically advocating for. It's advocating for your light, your highest self, reaching that person that you are petrified of. You are afraid of this person. I know this because I was you. I used to be terrified of myself. Sometimes I still am, especially when this one is looking at me funny. She freaks me out. Ooh, guys, I know she freaks me out. So, yeah, we live day in, day out and self-sabotaging ourselves, and we find ourselves here. And I'm here to basically teach you how to unlock you, how to awaken you, how to get you to that dream person that you know you are very capable of becoming, but you fail dismally because Mang or someone said you can't, you are worthless, you are not worthy, you can't do it. And we get these constantly, whether it's at work, whether it's in your school, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at a taxi rank, whether it is, we get this constantly because the world is projecting a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of anger, and just a lot of, so we're here to flip the script on that. But as I was saying, my journey, yours, Yeah, no, yours was an escapade, guys. I think that's when I got into my media space, event space, entertainment space. You know, while at UOFs, that's when I also started my sound business. Yeah, Khale, dude, ke jaga di speaker, guys. I've seen the things. This is where I also met my boys Immortal and Ligudi. I'll probably have them at the podcast at some point and reminisce with them as well. Yeah, so this is where I met them, and this is one of my oldest friendships, including Bohloko as well. Funny enough, I started my friendship with him around the same time, but we went to the same high school. I actually didn't remember him from high school, but we met up. Yeah, I really didn't. And I met up with him same time around when I met Imo and Ligudi. And we've had this amazing friendship for the past, over 15 years now. We've been friends. And it has grown into this nice family. We'll also throw them in. So basically, this podcast is about Laila Nnyane. This is the Laila Nnyane podcast. But the reason why it's about me is because I want to teach you how to reach your highest self. I want to unlock you. I want you to let your light shine as I do mine every single day. I want to teach you my mannerisms. I want to teach you my tricks. I want to teach you my thinking. I want to teach you how to elevate yourself and to get to where it is that you want to live. And basically that is living authentically within your truth. That is what this podcast is about. I just want that for you, just as I live it for myself. Of course, other features, other things that are controversial about me will also be thrown into the mix on the podcast. Woo! Flu! Hey! We're starting this podcast in the middle of flu season, so forgive us, okay? Forgive us. Another thing that I know that I'll get thrown under multiple times is my love life. My very controversial love life. I've made peace with it all, and I know this is also going to get thrown into the mix. My work, the relationship and the management that I do for a lot of brands, my networks, there's every sphere of my life is going to be touched on, and we're basically going to be covering it because the whole teaching of this is to unlock you. And when you unlock yourself, you have to touch on every part of your world and of your life and every part of you, because we are making a whole being, because this is your experience and no one has any right to tell you how to live it. I will be your coach. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will get you there. We will get you there. But that finish line, only you can cross it. And right now on the podcast, I want to introduce somebody who hijacked me. I don't know how to start this one. This is Eleanor, right? Eleanor has been hiding under a hole. Can we call it a hole? Is it a hole, Kumo? Eleanor has been hiding under a hole, for many years, because the world beat the crap out of her. Like it beat the crap out of all of us, right? I don't want to even begin to ask you how was COVID. So let's not go there, right? So I'm going to bring in Eleanor, but just before I bring in Eleanor, I just want to touch on my awakening journey. My awakening journey honestly happened during COVID. A lot of people have been telling me I am gay and I like girls. And for all my life, this is how lost I've been. For all my life, I always told myself that I'm straight. And I tried out with men. I was very much into white men. Still like them. They're still hot. But most of those relationships it was for them. It was never for me. I went into them, but it was for them. It was never for me. And in awakening, I came upon this. I remember it was at my all-female party. I host these all-female parties. It was on the 12th of December, 2020. And a girl that I liked, another thing about me, I've been liking girls my whole life. But I told myself, no, I believe in them. I'm going to empower them. I'm going to build them. And I really do that. But, okay, please don't take this out of context. People are going to take this out of context. Wait, hold on, before you all attack me. I saw it as I'm a woman, right? And I want to uplift this woman. And that is literally what I've been doing. And people can even research my history. I have uplifted, I have groomed every type of woman out there. It had nothing to do with their looks. Before you all come for me, please don't come for me, all right? I have uplifted and I've groomed every type of woman there is out there. And it had nothing to do with their looks. I was just saying, some of them in the mix were my crushes, but I was unaware because I was lost. You understand? So I used that as a way of therapizing myself because I was still lost and trying to find myself thinking I am straight. I was so lost that I never in my mind comprehended or even entertained the idea of me falling in love and living happily ever after with a woman. This is how incredibly crazy it was. So when this girl hit on me at my party on the 12th of December 2020, my whole world cracked open. Kanako, it's 2020. I just want to show you the mental slavery I had locked myself in. 2020. 23 years ago, I discovered, no, Laila. Girl, you can fall in love with a girl and get... Laila, why don't you to someone teacher? Sis, Laila. Shame on you, Laila. I corner. Yeah? I was watching. I haven't been back since. So that day is very pivotal to me. It's very important to me. Of course, that girl. This is another thing of self that I'll be teaching. When you're lost, you also attract lost souls. You also attract people that feed off you and don't actually contribute to you. And I ended up doing that. And one of the main reasons is because of my tug of war and my relationship with my family, especially with my mother, right? So the first girl, that one, that accidentally hit on me and decided, guys, you know when that happened, it took my friends over 2 hours to calm me down. I was shaking. I was trembling. It was bad. It was really bad. So when the friends to basically calm me down and everything, and I started looking at this girl, I'm like, wow, I can actually do that. Wow. It's so wild that the first time when I had made love to a girl, it was the easiest thing on this planet. I didn't struggle. I knew what to do. Because the febelinki of the white men... Anyway. I knew what to do. So, oh my word. Anyway, so I awakened. I came into self. It was funny. I was in lockdown with a very good friend of mine, Sleek, who's now still in Canada. Come back, Sleek, come back. So when we were in lockdown, he helped me see the world in a different way. And he helped me see like everything. Like it was a big, like the whole world is a web. Like your whole life is a web. Everything is interconnected. And I loved how he broke that down to me and he showed me simply with a video that got removed. Yeah, but anyway, that's another topic for another time. But that awakened me. And in my awakening, I started questioning a lot of things about my life, about who I am, what I am doing with my life. It got so bad that at some point I was sitting in my bathtub and I wanted to kill myself. Because when I got to that point, I realized this is not a life. I don't know what I'm doing. I am living for other people and that's not life. That's not me. And I hate it. And it's not authentic. It's not real. It's depressing. I'm always emotionally eating. I'm always stressed. I'm always depressed. And I felt like this is not life. And I don't want to do this. But the universe, God, life, whatever you want to call it, has other plans for me. Unfortunately, I'm still here because I have a lot of work to do, including this. This is part of the work. And in awakening, I find myself here and I find myself reaching out to a lot of you out there that I know you feel alone, you feel sad, you feel as if no one understands you, no one gets you, no one knows where you're coming from. And a lot of us, we were locked down in that. Lockdown, I think, helped a lot of us to actually awaken because a lot of us, we are lost because we are trapped in the rat race that is life. And we always forget to breathe. We always forget to center. We always forget to come back to ourselves. Everything we do, we focus on the outer and never internally. And that's what we're going to basically be doing. And one of the people that we have unburied is Eleanor. How did I unbury you? By going on TikTok Live, right? Was it the TikTok Lives or was it something else?
No, it was us meeting after
a very long time.
After a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
and you said, I call it something stupid because I don't remember it, but it stuck. And
It awoken you. It unlocked you. It brought you back to you
yeah,
in a way.
to the largest extent, to come back to people, which is part of who I am,
Yeah.
is the biggest thing. Like, I'm one person that people used to convince all the time. You gotta do things for yourself. It's gotta be about you. And then you just get uncomfortable. If I'm not helping some kid who I see a bright light in, if I'm not helping someone get their business to a level that I believe it can get to, then I'm bothered. So, but before that, it was always I know me, but now how do I become me when there's so many rules of when to become me?
This is when Laila came in and
yeah,
said,
and then
shut
she
up,
said
you're
something.
making noise and excuses.
Yeah.
Come here, let's go.
Yeah. Which is also a language I understand because the unlocking of self is something that I have always been persistent on.
Yes.
Like being alone is not a tragedy.
No, it's not.
It's actually my happiest
Yes.
place.
Yes.
And a lot of people
Are afraid of that.
are afraid of that.
Isn't it interesting that we're conditioned to be afraid of that? We are conditioned to be afraid of things that are actually good for us. This is the upside down world. No,
Yeah.
logically, if you actually think about it, that's why I don't like this condition of good and evil. You get what I mean? Yes, there's good and evil and stuff like that, but life is a balance.
Yeah.
Life is a balance. It goes with the emotions. It goes with everything that you're going through. And I love spending the day with this one because I'm trying to balance her. Oh my word, it's a nightmare. 1 minute she's here, 1 minute she's here. But it's also interesting.
But if I'm not there, nothing is happening. If I stay calm the whole day,
Collapses.
what's going to happen?
Ooh, the fires will burn.
So if I lose it for 5 seconds, it works.
And
it helps
moves.
me.
The trade moves. So Eleanor is basically our first guest, if I can put it like that. But I think we should also call it the producer of the show with my team because this is not just about me. It's a team effort. We're going to be working on the show. We're going to be growing the show together. And this is basically my team. It's going to be Eleanor. It's going to be Kuma. It's going to be Lazi. And we're basically going to be putting together the show every week and bring you different elements on how to reach your higher self, on how to unlock your true inner amazing light. And that's why we're calling it My Light Podcast.
That's where we need to go, to the light.
So what are you looking out for? What can we expect? What do you think we should touch on? What we should cover on in the podcast?
Honestly, one of the biggest things that I want to say everybody look out for is correcting yourself. And
Facing yourself.
be okay.
Yeah, taking responsibility,
Yeah.
reprimanding yourself.
Yeah,
actually.
be okay
Yeah,
with I was wrong. Be okay with I walked the wrong journey. Because look, I can give you an example of people that I know studied engineering and ended up becoming fashion designers, for
Yes.
example, or artists. Why did you go that
Become-
dead mile?
Becoming ke sa faili. Yes, so can I get a become? Niggas are become yo ke sa faili.
Do you not even
Economics,
remember?
statistics, ke sa accounting, ke sa faili. Guys, stop studying total studies even thing. And you know what's funny, right? After that degree, I went to BA. Guess what I did? I finished that BA in a year. I took 25 subjects, passed 22, went back the third semester, and then I graduated and I was out of there.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're not walking in who you are, right? You are making the gravest mistake of pleasing somebody else, but you are the one that has to live that thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And therefore you're dying. It's like
You're killing yourself piece by piece.
there's a concept that I want people to sort of start walking in, right? The concept is you are dead unless you are yourself. You understand? Let nothing hold you back. And it's okay to be the only one being yourself. Because there are people that need that self. So like practical examples. I like practical examples. If we were all teachers, what would we be teaching? And who would be the student? So put yourself in a situation whereby, and even in a Christian context, just as an example, the body of Christ, I feel like we can not all be the head. Some are fingers, some are nails. But a finger without a nail is pretty awkward, guys.
As hell and painful.
And it doesn't work really because fingers to touch and then you have no grip. That type of vibe. So just look at what you are and fall in love with it. And this goes to
the gift of life, the gift of who you've been given.
Yeah, it goes as far as even hiding from.
I love what you're saying because honestly speaking, it's very important what you're saying because honestly speaking, now my whole life, I believed I was ugly. Seriously, my whole life, I always believed, no, I'm ugly. Seriously, I know, and she's laughing at me right now because like, what the hell? No, but seriously, my whole life, I've always just...
Which is something I wouldn't understand. Because,
exactly.
Because you were my senior in high school and you were the one girl that I actually liked.
Yes, and you saw that. I know.
And I'm always just like, hi, Laila. Hi,
Laila. And I'll be oblivious.
Like, okay, this little girl is just all over. Okay, what's your name? And for the longest time, it wasn't necessarily because her dress code was my favorite, but because it was different. It gave me space to say...
to be yourself.
Laila did that, so I'm going to do this other thing because we are all different Lailas. She's Laila, I'm Eleanor.
You're going to lawyer.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
So I used to... And this is why, even when you were like... When we were having the first time conversation in a few years, it was that thing of, you were lost. If you had conversations with me like 7-10 years ago, you would be found.
Yes.
Because I was one of the people that used to bother you all the time.
Yes.
Laila, get in a dress. Laila, walk straight. Laila,
Oh yeah, set up Laila. Yo, I'm in trouble already.
Do you understand? So there's some things, and other people would think, no, this person is trying to correct that person too much. No, there's a lot of things that go into it. I don't want your back to be hurt because you're getting older.
Back aches, yeah.
You understand?
That's very true. I already have them.
And so as friends or as people in and around each other's lives, let's not take criticism as a negative thing.
Yeah.
And one thing I always try to teach all the time is, and I teach it in such a funny way. I tell people first that you're going to hate me.
Yeah, you're going to make them cry.
I'm going to make you cry. You're going to hate me. I'm going to be your least favorite person. But I'm going to make sure that your whole world, I have it in my hands to a point where anywhere you go, whether it's your best friend's be like, Eleanor is calling you. If it's your mom, Eleanor wants you to go. If it's your dad, you can't run away from me because...
This is why it's important to have you here.
You're fearful.
You are that for me. Eleanor literally irks me. Irritates the living crap out of me. Like I literally have a headache right now. She stresses me. You get? But here's the reality. I need it. I cannot keep being in the same loop, the same cycle, because that's what we always do. We get comfortable in our procrastination, in our comfort zones, and we never actually awaken and elevate ourselves. What she's doing is what I need, because I'm Laila, I can unlock you. But what about me? I also need that revival. Yeah. I also need that support. I also need that hand. Because at the end of the day, we are all just a people. And we can only elevate ourselves through togetherness, through growing each other. And that's what I love what you're saying, because Eleanor irritates me and pisses me off and angers me. And the reason why is because she's making me do things I know I should be doing, but I'm not doing them.
Well, I'm making you do things that you know you should be doing. But you're making me do things that I don't want to do, like being in front of cameras. I am a background chick.
Yes, we are unlocking each other.
I tell people all the time, I'm as insignificant as a background track is in a movie. Without that track, that guy running away from a bomb doesn't make sense. Yeah. I enjoy the background. And more importantly for me, being in the background is always about observing the need. Like, guys, Laila can do so many things. But Laila can also not do so many things.
True. I love that. That is a beautiful definition of me. I love that.
Because she could literally create a whole thing. And then I'm observing, right? And I'm like, but if you're late, right, okay? If you're late, who's going to be early? It's the smallest things, guys.
Yep.
The smallest things.
That most of us don't pay attention. Hence, I say, even in my teachings, it's the self-sabotage.
Yeah.
We persistently, consistently, day in, day out, self-sabotage ourselves without realizing it. And that is why she irks me. It's because it's so deeply hidden in us. We literally without realizing it.
Yeah.
That's why she irks me. It's because I am unlocking and removing those irritants because I know for me. But I am fighting ke World War III because ke rata procrastination yaka le my comfort, self-comfort, whatever, instead of facing my true self and doing what I need to do.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. Let's just talk about that element just for a little bit. So, guys, how do you hate what you need?
It is a matter of what I'm teaching here, right? It's our conditioning. Remember, everything is interlinked. Yeah? We all go through our different experiences, whether it's life, relationship, school, it does not matter. They all sit in us and they constantly contribute in our self-sabotage. For example, my relationship with that special person of mine, I get sharp. We're like this, best friends, right? But in that relationship, I feel like she was more benefiting than I am. Because right now, I get her and I don't miss that relationship because that relationship was for her. And I was doing that because I love her. Do you get what I mean? And I was doing that for the love that I have. So we constantly self-sabotage ourselves unknowingly because we basically sort of like justify it with, I love her.
You literally just took me to a point where I feel like that is our next topic.
Yes, but it answers to what you're saying. That's how we constantly self-sabotage. We self-sabotage because we lie to ourselves constantly, every day. You get what I mean? Yes.
Agreed. But I had to, and this is why I guess you wanted me out of my comfort space.
Yes.
Background.
Yes.
Guys, here's a thing I do with myself, and it's a lesson I had to teach myself in order for me to choose differently for myself, whether it's a relationship, a friend, or what. I'm not afraid of loss in the sense that I'd rather let go of a person if I realize at some point, hey, this person is not adding to me. Because what I had to do is, there's a big question I had to apply in my life. Are you choosing life or death? Every decision I make is a life or death decision. That's how I practicalize the movement towards myself. If, let's say, Laila keeps saying, Eleanor, no, stay there. After a while, I'm just like, why am I supposed to stay here?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're my friend, but you always want me to stay there. Then I contextualize it to different brackets of my life. And I'm like, this person really wants me to be comfortable in nothing. And then from that point, then what I do is I break away from the relationship. And normally how you do that is not even by interrupting what they're saying, but just by doing what they're not saying, going to a different position. So they're saying, stay here, I move to the next position. And if that bothers them, they normally step out of my life. Then you're not getting rid of people, you are rather releasing people into their own energy and channel.
And if they were meant to be there, they would stay. Honestly speaking, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, but as well, what I've noticed is that I'm still trying to figure out how to make them realize that even if you were meant to stay, you're only not there because you don't want to grow out of me needing you.
This is where our teachings come into place. You understand? This is where it all boils down to. That's the depth of it. You understand? Because it's literally entrenched in you. For example, with me, I had to unlock childhood traumas. I had to face myself. My first relationship, I was telling you, my girlfriend would constantly trigger me of my traumas because growing up, I would always, instead of facing a trauma or confronting it, scrub it under the rug. No, and move on. You get? So my relationship, she would trigger me. There were times where Michael Jackson's "Have You Seen My Childhood" would literally play in my head when I was looking at her. I'm like, what is happening? Like, you get what I mean? But that's why I always will never regret that relationship because she helped me in a way that nobody can ever comprehend or understand or appreciate. Because It's another topic and another thing we're going to be touching on the podcast. The value system of this world, what we value. You know, a lot of people in that relationship were like, she's using me, she's a gold digger, blah, blah, blah. So what? I'm also getting what I need, what I want out of that relationship.
What I want to say.
But people would value the materialism more than they would the therapy, the triggering, the unlocking, me reaching my highest self. Because I can tell you now, had I not gone through those phases, had I not gone through that relationship, I would not be this far.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to touch on. It's like using.
Happy, here's the thing.
I want to say something.
Yeah, you're using. Hold on. I don't want to interrupt you. Happy, here's the thing that a lot of people misunderstand. It does not matter whether it's good or bad. Every single person prays for someone to come into their life. I prayed for that. And I got exactly what I needed. Just as she also prayed for me to get, do you get what I mean? That's what we also forget as a people. Whether we are good or evil, that's why I want to unteach people the good or evil thing. At the end of the day, we all pray for things that we need and people that we need. In whatever context they come in, it just so happens. That is life. And it's signs and coincidences and ironies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, your spirit, your soul, Eleanor, right now you're in a deep hole. You don't know how to get yourself out of. What did the universe do? Suddenly you discover Laila after how many years? Does that make any sense? Do you get what I mean? Those are those are life, and that's manifestation. That's your spirit. That's your energy. Those are the things you send out into the universe that I need this. Can you please help me get this?
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah, most def. And that's why I was saying to you that, like, when you are mentioning me, it wasn't the, I don't see I'm trapped. I don't see that I need a way out. It was how do I get out? Yes. The moment you can't answer the question of the how, sorry for bringing the book into context here. There's a scripture that says all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord or that reach their higher self, their light, going into infinity. You like, because that's really where we're going. We get born to die, and it's the same place. It's darkness to darkness. The middle ground is where people don't understand.
That's true.
Get it out of yourself right now, like, and this is where I make people cry, guys. Get it out of yourself that nobody's using you. Everybody's using you. From your mother.
Yep. Literally.
From everybody's using you. How you need to now come into a situation is, see, context and phrases like tit for tat. This is where they come into frame. But here's the thing. Somebody cannot give you what you didn't demand.
Yeah.
So if you're not demanding, like people will say, Laila, X was using you for X, Y, and no, yes, 1 + 1 is 2, but Laila didn't add her 1, so the girl took 2. You understand? And in turn, unaware, you were gaining because it was an experience that you never had.
And I needed.
Where would you have gotten it if it was not her?
Yeah.
And here's that element, the other element that we keep speaking about, the light. Your light is the only one that exists. Individually, your light. So if she had gotten a different light from the light that she got, no matter how dim, tainted, or distraught it was, that's the light she needed to get to her current level.
Absolutely.
So I'll break that relationship and say it was beneficial for everybody.
No, it really was.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we should stop the context.
Dude, why can we normalize that two people are in a relationship for themselves? They are there to grow and get to know themselves. And can you just normalize when they break up, it's just, they broke up. They tried. Can we move on? Please?
But besides that, like, thank God they didn't kill each other, because there's also that.
You know? Yeah, there is also that. That's another topic for another time. But my point in coming to this is that I was in pain for several months after my breakup. And in my pain, and this is the power, and I'll show you my manifestations. In my pain, I literally envisioned certain scenarios with a certain beautiful girl and certain things. And
they're happening.
They're happening.
And that is a beautiful place. Another big thing that we need to realize just before we go offline.
Yes, we're wrapping it up right now. We are broadcasting live from Past Media Academy, baby.
What you need to understand is when it ends, it's a new beginning.
Yes.
Guys, if your life is consistent and nothing is changing,
You're not
shame.
living. You're dead.
If your relationship is there and you've never fought,
Aye. What are you doing?
you are not in a relationship. You are in a careful. And careful is comfort. Trust me. When you're careful, you're comfortable. If you are not pushing the boundaries of every single thing in your life, it means that you are settling.
Yeah, and not living. Absolutely. All right, that's a wrap of our first episode. It's My Light Podcast, teaching you how to reach your highest self. My name is Laila Nnyane, and I will be your host on this remarkable and incredible journey. Join me every single day on TikTok Live. We are still fighting, me and Eleanor, whether it's 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. And of course, in the evenings at 9 p.m., that is a definite one in the evenings. And of course, we'll come back to you with a schedule on that one. And of course, hopefully during the podcast, we might also have a TikTok live podcast. I'm very excited. So we're looking out for that and much, much more. I'm also building up my website. So most of these will also be available on my website. I'll come to you on the second episode with that details. We'll be live, follow Live with Laila on YouTube. That's my channel. Live with Laila on YouTube, Live with Laila on TikTok. Laila Nnyane on Facebook, Laila Nnyane on Instagram as well. So those are the platforms in which you can contact me, reach me, send me your message, tell me what it is that you want to touch on. And we'll also have invited guests. I have producers. I have an amazing team. Thank you, family. Thank you for being with me. I'm excited about this journey. And big shout outs to Past Media Academy. These studios are absolutely incredible. I'm going to be giving you information on how you can book and use these incredible studios. And also send your kids out here to come and learn about music production, about editing, about there's so many things that this academy offers, and I'm going to be uploading them as part of the video so that you can also check them out and come and basically support. New season coming in, new students coming in. Let's also check that out. So my name is Laila Nnyane, and this is the first episode of My Light Podcast, and it has been a pleasure and an honor to basically come to you live from Past Media Academy. Boo, 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 boo. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Dango.